Welcome to this current affair topic and the economic lecture. In this lecture we will take DISCOM stress in India. Lots of debt is burden on the DISCOM sector, where government has given that 75% of the loans will be funded by the state and the 25% loans or the debt will be given by the DISCOM itself. Lots of steps have been taken, but still in the DisCom sector we are seeing the debt started to increase. Earlier lots of steps were taken like prepaid meters and all, but later we have seen that it is increasing day by day. So moving ahead with this lecture, distribution companies, that is DISCOMs, plays a very critical role in the electricity supply chain. Why? We will see in this next slide, because it distributes the electricity to the homes. So all the distribution responsibility lies with this DISCOM. So these utilities typically buy power from the generators and retail these to the consumers. Consumers means who? We, industries and all. So what is the problem? We will see. So why the financial positions of the DISCOMs is in stress? Electricity, when we went to the in which list electricity will come, that we have a 3 list: state list, central list and the concurrent list. In this, electricity will come under the concurrent subject. It means it will come under both state and center. It will come under both this one. Both these will have a right on this electricity subject. So these two are responsible for the development in this sector. So electricity creations will have a 3 stages. First will be you have a generation. You will see NTPC, NHPC. These all will present, like dams are there for the NTPC and all. This will be handled by the central generation utilities, and we have then transmission, that will like power grids will be there. Central transmission unit will be there in the state. At the state level we will see Gencos, Transco and all. So you will see like these kind of lots of tower being standard in the field. So these are like transmission one. Now these towers will help in the transmission one. So this will help in the distribution. Now the DISCOM will distribute this electricity to the consumer. Consumer means who? To the home, to the peoples, to we as a consumer. And in this consumer, your industry will also come. Your industries will also come. Okay. So the issue is that the financial position with the DISCOMs, the main issue that started earlier, the electricity that you are receiving at your homes are generally in various cases are subsidized by the state, or if it is not subsidized also, the price that you are paying is actually less. Now the price that you are paying is less, then from whom this price will be taken? Because ultimately some people have to pay that price to the DISCOM. Then the DISCOM is sending the electricity, distributing the electricity to the industries. So industries are paying heavier price for the electricity to the DISCOMs. So this imbalance that you are seeing here, that the less price is being paid by the consumers, like we are homes, at our homes the electricity that we are receiving is at lesser price, and the industries are paying the burden for it, for the DISCOM sector. Now what happens, most of the industries or the companies, corporate companies and all, have been moving towards the renewable source of energy. Okay, what renewable source of energy? Like solar power and all. Like if you go to the Infosys is running on the solar plates and all, solar power plant. They have its own solar power plant in most of its DCs, in most of the offices. So that is what the earning of the DISCOM is getting less, because ultimately he is not getting this DISCOM is not getting the money from the home because the price is less, and now the money that we are getting from those industries and the corporate offices, they are moving away, they are moving towards the renewable source of energy. Ultimately this source is getting disrupted. And in another case, due to this COVID situation, all these industries are not working. Most of the people are doing work from home. So the companies, if let us move Infosys, if there is a company, X corporate company, if it was taking electricity from the DISCOM, so their employees are working from their home. So ultimately the electricity utilization has been decreased. Thus the money or the payment given to the DISCOM is reduced. Further, most of the industries have been shut down due to this COVID situation. So ultimately this DISCOM is not earning money, it is staying in the debt. This is a problem with the current situation with the DISCOM. Okay, so the financial position of the DISCOM is very bad, as they owe large sums to the generators and also have high short-term dues apart from the long-term debt owed by them, that they have taken the long-term debt from these generators and all. So as per the government prapti or payment ratification and analysis in power procurement for the bringing transparency in invoicing of generators portals, 1 lakh crores of dues are unpaid to the DISCOM. Earlier the government said that 75% dues will be paid by the whom? Paid by the state, and the 25% will be paid by the DISCOM itself. Now how a state will pay? State will issues the government bond. There is some G securities or bond, the state government bonds and all. In this way it will issue those bonds in the market, and ultimately what is the money and the interest will receive, then state will pay to that DISCOM. It was working very fine. Ultimately debt was getting decreased, but due to this COVID and all, now we are seeing that this debt is again started to increase, and this is a problem with the DISCOM stress. Okay, so the challenges with the DISCOMs, they are blamed for inefficiency. DISCOMs are blamed for the inefficiency, which include high losses called aggregate technical and commercial AT&C losses. What is this? See, when you charge your phones, you will see your charger will heat, or when you are using laptop, your laptop will generate heat. It means what? When something is working, the energy will be released, and this energy will be released in the form of heat. In the same manner, when the electricity is supplied from one station or one tower point or one distribution center to the another, or one transmission center to the another, power get lost at a very huge amount. Around 30% power used to be lost. It means what? DISCOM is paying for the 100% power, and when the distribution happens, only it is distributing around 70% power to the households or the industries. So there is a huge burden on the DISCOM, and this is what the inefficiency. So that's what it is saying, that the challenges with the DISCOM is that the blame of getting inefficiency because of AT&C loss. Okay, aggregate technical and commercial loss and the heat losses and all. Okay, so the regulators have failed to fix reflective tariffs, which has resulted in high debts of DISCOMs. It means the tariffs or the cost they have to be taken has been failed. They face severe challenge of payables. Most of the payments have been failed. They are in the debt. Most of the payments are not coming to them. State governments are the biggest defaulters. That state governments are, in spite also, they are not paying to the DISCOM sector. Like even if the 75% has been sent to the state, it is not getting paid to them at the time. And even when they are supplying to the state government, all, they are not getting the money back from the state government. So this is also one of the major challenge. So with the rise in the renewable energy, premium customers leave the DISCOM system partially by, and as battery technologies mature, their dependence on DISCOMs may decrease that most of the sectors, like they have used the battery system, they are using generators, or the corporate companies like Infosys and all, they are using that solar power plates for the electricity. So this is what, this is decreasing the financial income of the DISCOM, and this is also one of the major challenges as the customers are moving towards the renewable source of energy. Recently Tata has taken the project of the renewable source of energy, and they have started advertisement regarding it. We have wind source of energy in the south. So these renewable source of energy are creating an issue for the DISCOM sector. So with ease of regulations in the sector allows the third party suppliers under the competitive models, which would result in increased competition in the business of electricity supply. Like if third party suppliers will come under the competitive model, that will increase the competition in the business model if the third party is coming with some regulations in the sector that is allowing the third party in the sector. That is also one of the challenge for the DISCOM sector. And further, that I've said that COVID-19 has completely shattered income cash flows of the utilities due to the multi-month dip in demand. It means people have started to do work from home, so most of the organizations are not running at their peak, and ultimately their income has been reduced, and those employers are working from the home, and we know that the price for the electricity at the homes are very less. Okay, so what needs to be done? So the things that should be done will be divided into two terms, that should be from the short terms and the long term. For the short term, there is a need for much larger liquidity infusion than has been announced thus far. It means that it needs money infusion either in the form of loan or directly helping its sector to revive it. So that will be one example for that. One will help for the short term help for this DISCOM sector, or another, the growing debt has to be paid down to be the manageable levels. This calls for a haircut in DISCOM's debt obligations. It means it is saying that, or just pay the debt at least up to the manageable level. It means, like, let us suppose the debt is of rupees 100, so at least pay 50 rupees or the 60 rupees to the DISCOM, so that this getting 50 rupees they can be managed for the another source, like they can buy for electricity from the generators from this 50 rupees. It means that from this 50 rupees they will be able to manage it. So this is what it is saying, that at least clear the debt to the manageable levels. Okay, so this calls for a haircut in the DISCOM sector obligations. Now for the long term, in the long term, all the risk and the future obligations should not be placed on DISCOMs alone. Why DISCOM is taking burden of all those things, where we have a generators and generation center, transmissions and all other companies? Why DISCOM is taking burden of it? They have to be, these sectors should also take the burden, and so that there should be a balance of financial between these three sectors, because the three are related to each other. Further, we need to increase the efficiency of the electricity transmission by reducing the AT&C losses. Need a complete overhaul, that is a repairing and all of the, if some repairing is required. So regulation of the electricity companies and the deliverables, and the regulators must allow cost covering tariffs. That tariff should be like that, it should be covered all the cost that they are paying, that they have to pay. It should not be like they need 10 rupees and they are asking from the people rupees 5. It means what, 5 rupees will be in debt. Don't do like that, otherwise you are going to face those burden. Home utilities, the people that are using their electricity at home are very less in some places, so it should not be like that. These tariffs should be so much low that all the burden should be come to them. Otherwise, earlier it was balanced with the industries and all, but now industries are also moving for the renewable source of energy, and right now due to COVID situation, most of the industries have been shut down. So that's what it is saying, that there should be a balance between the cost covering of the tariffs and all. So the regulation should meet the national needs of quality, affordable and sustainable power also. So what are the government initiatives taken in this behalf? So Deen Dayal Upadhyay Gram Jyoti Yojana. Deen Dayal Upadhyay Gram Jyoti Yojana. This was the one of the scheme taken by the government, where electricity was, like in rural areas electricity was poor, that so that the government introduced this scheme, and it will help the farmers and all in their agriculture sector. Earlier it was free to them to use in the agriculture, but what happened, they started to misutilize this yojana, this scheme, like this government paid them that the free electricity for the agriculture. This started to be misused by them, as they started to irrigate the water, or the water is just wasting and wasting without any need. They were using the electricity further, they were using the electricity for their household works and all. So thus government started to some that imposes some money or some bills on those electricity for the utilization of the electricity in the agriculture field. So government came up with this scheme. In rural areas electricity was not proper, so electricity was subsidized for agriculture, but people started to use for commercial also. They started to use in their shops, they started to use their motors, like for their household works, and they further the waters were getting wasted and wasted. So under this scheme government separated feeder started, that more infrastructure, that separate feeder will be there. One feeder will go for the agriculture only and one feeder will go for the home sector. So more infrastructure, sub transmission, distribution of power will be required. Earlier it was free, so people were not caring too much. Now the meter were installed, now the people started to be accountable, and this was important, because nobody cares for the free things. If you have attached money, if you are paying something for that, you will be accountable, and thus government did the same thing. They installed the meter for it. Whatever the case, the cost of the meter per unit will be less, but they install the meter for being accountable. So area where there is no power, for that new scheme, Saubhagya scheme came, that like where the electricity was not there. Then Sahaj Bijli Har Ghar Yojana came. Under this scheme electricity connection came to all the houses. It was said by the ruling government that around 18,734 households are left, but in the Lok Sabha it was said by the other parties and all, like 3.2 lakh households are yet to be electrified, but by the government they are saying that 18,734 households are left. So another scheme, Ujjwal DISCOM Assurance Yojana. First scheme was your what? Deen Dayal Upadhyay Yojana, which helped in the agriculture, irrigations and all. Another Sahaj Bijli Har Ghar Yojana or Saubhagya scheme. Understand? And third one will be your Ujjwal DISCOM Assurance Yojana, UDAY scheme. Like the distribution center were in debt, so center said to state that 75% of the debt will be taken by the state and 25% will be taken by the DISCOM. Now how the state will pay? State will sell their 75% of the government bond in the market, G securities and all. I have explained in the economic lecture, that is what is G securities. The bond is issued by the government, and that bond will be kept by the investor or the loan giver or the lender, and this bond will be as a form of like assets and all, will act like an asset, and in the return they will get interest, money, and also through issuing the bond they will get the money, and this will be paid by this state to the distribution DISCOM companies. So the finance of DISCOMs will be measured in real time through Prapti, payment ratification and analysis in power procurement for being transparency in invoicing of generation portal. So from there, this portal the real time measurement of the money will be done. So the financial monitoring will be done with DISCOM through this portal in the real time. So UDAY scheme came, debt decreased and again starting today. So again the UDAY 2.0 was launched, and the installation after due to this UDAY 2.0, the installation of smart prepaid meters, prompt payment DisComs have been there. Like now prepaid meters, like recharge first, like your mobile recharge of rupees 200, now you will get electricity of 200. After utilization of 200 meters, your electricity will be cut, you will not get electricity. For that again you have to pay. So that is something called prepaid meters. What are the issues with the sector? High distribution losses, as I've explained. Theft of electricity, many houses will use to take electricity, like where the naked wire is there, people used to attach their home wire in this naked wire, that is in something in Hindi called as toka. So this get attached, and this is something called as a theft of electricity. So that's why now in the various households, now the government is replacing those naked wires with the plastic coated wires. Low metering level, they distort the meters and all. Poor financing, health utilities, cost recovery, and rise of renewable energy by the reputed institutions like Infosys and other corporate companies. Cross subsidization, like I am keeping the rate of industry units high so that the household will get lesser per unit charge. That is something called cross utilization. As in the starting only I explained the example that in the household you are getting electricity at low cost. Then who is paying your actual cost? It is paying by the industries. Industries are paying actual cost. It is called, this is something called known as cross subsidization. Okay, this is called cross subsidization. And COVID related disruptions, that people have started to work from home, and ultimately the money earning from those organizations or their offices and all have been reduced. Okay, so shift to renewable source of energy is one more issue. So DisComs have also be take certain actions regarding these developments. I hope you have understand this lecture. Please like and subscribe. Your subscription is a form of payment for me. If you have any suggestions, feel free to ping on my Twitter handle given in the description. Link is given in the description. Thank you.